Good morning. Yes, this is inside the Electric Furball Studio. So the COVID-19 quarantine has us all kind of locked down. This is a little strange, as you know, because we're quarantined and we're in isolation, each and every one of us in our own way, I guess. And it kind of has me wondering about people's survival, and I mean, this is a different kind of survival, that's for sure. Everybody's kind of locked down and isolated, and it's kind of like being on your own little desert island. I've been in isolation now. This is day 33. I know a lot of you are only on like day 16 or 17 or something like that, but I started my isolation a little early. I have a lung condition that I was told very bad if I get this thing, so like it kind of pushed me into isolation a little earlier than some. For years, my friends, my wife, my family, they've all referred to me as a hermit. And that's kind of strange to find out that now that this has actually become an asset to me rather than a disability. Because whereas everybody else's life has had huge interruption to it, my life is relatively unchanged. And that's a little strange. But it also points out that I've been isolating for so many years that I have skills. I have skills that apply to this. Skills that have helped me to stay busy, to keep busy, to find ways to amuse myself, to help others, to whatever I can find. Anything I can do to keep my mind occupied. And that's very hard to do sometimes, I must admit. I wanted to wait until now to actually do one of these episodes for the simple fact that I hadn't had a really bad day for most of this, for the early part of this. I didn't have any pain flare-ups or anything. It was pretty much day after day. Everything was going along pretty much as usual. And I wanted to make sure I at least had a few days of bad, a few bad days into this before I sat down to try to record this. So I got my wish. I had a couple of really, really bad days, really bad pain flare-up days where my depression and my anxiety just went off the scale. This is going to affect everybody. This is not going to just affect some of us more than others. This is going to affect every single person in the country in a very dramatic way. So it's kind of important that we learn to diversify our thoughts, learn to entertain our own minds. I do music, I do video work, I have a script in the workings. I'm writing a rock opera or a rock musical, so I have that going for me. I'm working on this video project as well as another video project with a very, very dear friend of mine, Dave Dubler. So it's all a matter of staying busy right now, staying busy. Which brings me to a little plug I want to do for something that my buddy Dave and I have been working on called Rearview Mirror. It's about 40 years of playing music together. We've been actually playing music together for 40 years. Off and on, I mean, we've had our breaks and stuff like that, but like for 40 years we've been playing music together. We got out a lot of the old cassette tapes and we digitized them, and we are kind of like picking the best of and then going to put out a little video series on them. So I kind of hope that will be out in the next couple of months. That's slow going because we're both self-isolating in 2 different locations, so we've got some technical glitches to work out. We'll get there. I guess the important thing here is, I know it's easier said than done, but try to choose hope over fear, because the fear in all this is very massive. And a lot of times, I find myself focusing on the news and so forth. It's really good to, I've been scheduling my news, where I've been scheduling. I watch it 3 times a day. I try to keep it to an hour and for each of those 3 times, and then that's it. Especially the news cycle, it just repeats over and over, and that's a horrible thing to put in your head. So it's the same thing here. You've got to diversify that mind and give it lots of things to think about. Netflix is good, but if you're like me and been isolating for years, Netflix is old by now. You're having trouble finding stuff to watch on Netflix. So it's good to find other things, find a lot of other things to do. My hope for this series is to try to give ideas on surviving this long-term isolation. It's not going to be easy for anybody, but I want to be able to show what I myself have learned fighting the long-term loneliness and isolation over the years. I'm still sane. I'm still relatively sane. My friends and relatives may dispute that, but I still keep going forward, and the isolation hasn't killed me, and it won't kill you either. It really won't. This is for our elders, for our friends, for our relatives, our neighbors. This is kind of strange, but to be isolated is the best thing you can do for them right now. Treat yourself like you have COVID-19 and you don't want to give it to anyone else. That's the best advice. The other thing I wanted to do is to possibly create something to entertain folks while they're at home. So I'm gonna be trying to do some music pieces in this series, maybe some live music. See how I feel. I have a lot of recordings that I've made over the years, and music videos and things like that I can feature, but just to try to give some entertainment. So I want to add that as well. Speaking of which, a very dear friend of mine named Donna Grant. We've been friends for many years now, and we've had I know this is a bit of a sad story. On the day after Christmas, my friend Donna had to say goodbye to a very dear friend of hers. She had a horse called Adessa. There are some friends that when you think of one, you can't help but think of the other at the same time. You just can't separate them in your head. And that was Donna and Adessa, where there's just no way I can separate the two in my head. When I think of Donna, I think of Adessa at the same time. Sadly, the day after Christmas, in this past Christmas, she had to say goodbye to her friend. Yeah, it was very sad. At the same time, I believe I mentioned I was writing I'm writing a second rock musical. And at the same time I got this news, I was writing a tragedy piece, and all of a sudden it just came to me that this tragedy was already in front of me, and all I had to do was write it down. And it may have taken about 2 hours to write the entire song, but it really came together that quickly. And that's kind of special when that happens. It happens every once in a while, but I note that is very special when a song comes together that quickly and that thoroughly. It's almost like it was given to you from somewhere else. It was a gift. It's not something that you did. It's something that you just kind of received. And now it's your job to put it out into the world. So with that in mind, I wanted to introduce the video. And I hope you enjoy it. Adessa.
Since losing all we have, we've been lost and so confused, fighting for existence and some shelter we can use. So Adessa took the lead, led us through some bitter days, in search of greener pastures and a bit of grass to graze. We all hold on to those memories that comfort us, and we hold so tight to those we must lose one day. And we hold the thought that time is something we can trust, and we hold on to those lost along the way. The air was so thick with smoke, one by one it took us all. But Adessa never wavered once until this her final fall. I held on to her tail, she pulled me through the darker nights. Step by step she gave her all by walking towards the light. We all hold on to those memories that comfort us, and we hold so tight to those we must lose one day. And we hold the thought that time is something we can trust, and we hold on to those lost along the way. We all hold on to those memories that comfort us, and we hold so tight to those we must lose one day. And we hold the thought that time is something we can trust, and we hold on to those lost along the way. It's just a silly horse, I know that's what they say, but friends like this are truly rare and seldom come my way. So I lay her head down here on what grass that I could find. It wasn't fresh and it wasn't green, but I know she wouldn't mind. We all hold on to those memories that comfort us, and we hold so tight to those we must lose one day. And we hold the thought that time is something we can trust, and we hold on to those lost along the way. And we hold